Hello, this is Hazel with Keyhole Conversations. Today we're here with guest Bonnie Myrick, who is going to read a favorite scene from her book, Out of Control.
Well, is your life out of control? If you think it is, read this book and then you'll be glad that you don't have the problems that this lady has. This is a story about two sisters on vacation that are stalked by a serial killer. I've chosen one of my favorite scenes, my serial killer, to read his story here. Doyle has a certain language that's appropriate for his character, but I may have censored some of the words, so if you're hearing words that are unrecognizable to you, you will know that it's been censored out. Here we go. Like a predator on the prowl, Doyle smiled and waited for his prey. For a couple of seconds, coldness settled around his heart as though some clock had set his destiny, ticking out the final showdown. He shoved the feeling aside, reached for the box of toothpicks in the seat beside him, and flipped the lid back. His fingers dipped into the container, curling around a handful of the smooth, round wooden spindles. Anticipation filled him with exultation as he rolled the spindles between the palms of his sweaty hands. It was time to make his move. He opened the door and stepped out, his furtive eyes scanning the block. A couple of briefcase-toting men in gray suits emerged from the building and walked briskly to the parking garage. Traffic began to pick up. Cars zipped by, carrying drivers preoccupied with their own thoughts at the end of the workday. Up and down the street, men and women streamed by like busy ants on their way to nowhere. That was good. He'd slip into the crowd. Just another ant blending in. Conformity. That was for the other guy, not for him, but in this case it would work for him. He joined the anonymous crowd of busy pedestrians. Running nervous fingers through his thick dark hair, he let the curly strands tumble over his brow. Sweat glistened on his forehead and trickled down under the metallic glasses he always wore. He tugged at the white broadcloth shirt with the rolled-up sleeves and pulled the cloth away from his sticky body. He mopped his brow with a handkerchief. A t-shirt would have been cooler. Still, he knew the unbuttoned shirt showed off his deep tan and the tight Levi's that gave him a careless, masculine look that women loved. In the mirror of his bathroom, he'd often scrutinized the high cheekbones and gaunt looks that usually gave him what he wanted. The practiced, brooding look in his brown eyes added an air of mystique that women found irresistible. Bleep, bleep, all of them, with their hands all over him, their hungry eyes undressing his body. The heat of the day hovered over the city like he imagined it would be in hell, if there actually were one. He'd never thought about it much. Hell was now, being forced to live in a world full of idiots. Bleep, bleep. He could outwit them all. He scowled, shoved his hands in the pockets of his jeans, and tipped his head back. Hard to see the sky here. Too many high-rise buildings. Too many busy, impersonal people. Soon, though, he'd be back in Oklahoma, away from all of them. He moved the short distance to Sarah's car and paused by the meter. Rolling the toothpicks in his hand, he stepped to the side of the Dodge, ready to slide the little spikes of wood into the locks. Abruptly, his head jerked as he caught a sudden slight movement from the corner of his eye. A burly security guard in uniform had pushed his bulk through the revolving door, stationing himself squarely at the entrance. Rage filled him. He forced himself to move down the block, stopping briefly to look at a pawnshop window while he scanned the reflections in the window glass. The big red-lettered sign read, "Easy Pawn, open until 6. He began to revise his plans. He'd go in and make a small purchase, then return to his car, moving it further away so he wouldn't arouse suspicion. Should be easy to follow. Time was ticking, but it would be worth the wait. The secret behind this little scene, I didn't have to do much research because it was from an incident that happened to me in a campus parking lot where someone, while I was in class, had shoved these little toothpicks into all of my car windows and even the trunk so that I was unable to get in. And of course, we always walked each other out. The students walked each other out, and it was just a safety measure. And we called the police, so nothing happened except that I was out a lot of money for a silly little trick like someone wanted to play. One last note. This book will be promoted on Kindle for 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, so you can download a free copy of Out of Control. We hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
And that's it for Keyhole Conversations. As Bonnie said, her book is going to be promoted on Kindle on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of this week. So go over and get a free copy. And that's it for this week at Keyhole Conversations.